Hi, Kathryn here with Handmade by Circleartdesigns. Well, on my mat today, let's make a beautiful necklace that we call Water and Ice. This is just gorgeous. Look at that piece. It has a beautiful, beautiful diamond pattern pendant on it with a hammered piece for the top. And then it has some of the beads from the August Bargain Bead Box and a few things from my own stash. So let's turn our eyes to them. So as I turn my eyes to my work table and I see my Simply Grateful mat, I have been thinking about some of the things that I might like to share with you today. But first, let's get this cleaned off just a little bit. I set everything down on this mat. But as I was saying, what would I like to share about being simply grateful? And I think what I would say today is that being grateful is an attitude that you have to cultivate. I tried to teach this to my children, that it is being grace-filled, being simply grateful and looking for the good, the grateful in everyday life, even when things aren't going exactly the way you would like them, when things are tough and bad times. That's when cultivating the attitude of being simply grateful is most important in my life. And I would encourage that in your life as well. So my prayer for each of us today is, no matter the circumstances we find ourselves in, that we each learn to be simply grateful, to be grace-filled in our everyday life. All right, let's turn our eyes to the mat. So I'm pulling from my own stash. These are 12 O's instead of 11 O's, and they're crystal AB. Aren't those gorgeous? I just love these because remember, the necklace itself will be called Water and Ice. So I think that's perfect. Doesn't that look like little ice crystals? And the next thing is 11O in the check glass, and this is in a teal. And isn't that lovely? I just love this color. It's so pretty. So let's pick some of these up so you can see them. And they're really, really pretty. And then let's see, what else do I want to put out here so you can see. Oh, let's get that out of the way. That's all I need is to mix them. Excuse me. And then I have my little 3mm gold spacer balls. I use these a lot. I get them off of Amazon. And then let's see what else. Oh, and the other two beads were from Hobby Lobby. Then this is that blue agate. It's a dyed agate, and it's in a faceted round. It's lightly faceted. I love this. This looks like little water droplets, and that is exactly what I'm going for in the water portion of this necklace. And then this is the 34 by 30mm. Now this is, I looked online, they call it a diamond pattern with cubic zirconias in the center and that beautiful enamel, blue enamel. And that is just gorgeous. It is 18 karat gold plated over brass. Now this is from my own stash. This is a 30mm diameter hammered brass gold. And I love that. This will make a gorgeous, gorgeous pendant. I've pulled out a simple bell. I don't want any distractions. And then these beautiful little peanuts. They will be what I will use to link my circles together. And now I have these gorgeous crystal rondelles. These are faceted with an AB finish. I got them from Hobby Lobby. Let's set those up right over there. And then we're going to be using, let's move this. We will need some #1 crimps from Beaded for this. And let's see what else. Oh, I know. Let's move this down a little bit so you can see everything that's going on. And I think that we will be ready to start. Oh, no, I didn't show you this. This is the medium weight from Soft Flex, and it is in Snow White. And I think this color is gorgeous. It will give just that added depth to those crystal 12-0s to make it look like the little ice crystals. So we're putting on a 3mm bead. I always start with one of those, so when I crimp, I have a place for my wire to go. And then I'm going to start with my 2 of my crystal 12-0s, and then I'm going to do 3 of the teal 11-0s, and then 2 more of the crystal 12-0s. Now, I have to tell you, getting these little 11-0s on this white, you'd think would be easy, but I chased them all over this mat. So, 2 of the crystal, 3 of the teal, and then 2 more crystal. I'm counting to make sure I know where I am at. But I do bead on the spool, so I waste as little of this beautiful soft flex as possible. I really love this colored wire. And when you are using something like the crystal seed beads, this is just perfect. All right, let's go ahead and do another one of these. Hey, look at that. It's going a little faster. And then I'm going to put on another one of the 3mm spacer balls, if I can hit that circle. Let's put some over here so I can actually get it on the wire without having to pick it up. So let's see what we've got here. So I have put, actually I changed it. I went ahead and put 3 of the crystal, 2 of the teal, and 3 of the crystal. I just switched it around because I wanted more of that ice look to this particular necklace. All right. Next to that, we're going to put on, oh, let's take that off. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the agate, that blue agate. So I'm going to go ahead and put on 2 of the crystal. And let's see, do I want to add something else? Yes. Oh, actually, instead of going to that, we're going to add the Rondelle. Or first we're going to add one of these little daisy spacers that I got out and didn't show you. Then a rondelle. Then another of the little daisy spacers. Then your blue agate. And if I can find a hole. Then we'll go back to another daisy spacer. That faceted crystal rondelle. That is so pretty. They're just gorgeous. And it's going to look something like that. And then we'll go ahead and finish off with 2 of the crystal 12-0s and a 3mm spacer ball. And that is going to be that piece. So let's go ahead and look. Now, isn't that lovely? Now, I'm going to repeat this all the way down till I get to the middle of my piece. All right, let's go back over this one more time. We have ended with that 3mm spacer ball. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put on 3 of the 12-0 crystal seed beads, then 2 of the 11-0 teal, and then 3 more of the 12-0 crystal seed beads. Now these 12-0s are just slightly bigger than the 11-0s. And so if you can see with this, we will end up having that piece, the seed bead, or what I would call the component number 1, offset the middle component. So we would be component number 1, component number 2, and component number 1. So again, for that component number 2, once we have on our, we end with that, oh, excuse me. Once we end with the 3mm, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on our rondelle, our daisy spacer, our agate, our daisy spacer, our rondelle. Then we're going to add 2 more of the crystals and then another spacer ball. So let me see if I can't get you a picture of this. So we're going to start off on the right hand side of the screen because that is where I put my first bead, and we're going all the way across to the left hand side of the screen. So I am beading on the cording here. We'll go with that 3mm spacer ball. Then we're going to go with 3 of the 12-0 in the crystal. Then 2 of the 11-0 in the teal, and then 3 of the 12-0 in the crystal, and then another of the spacer balls in that gold. So it's 3, 2, 3 with spacer balls on either end. Now, if you see the next thing after that spacer ball, you will have 2 of the 12-0 crystal seed beads. And you see that little daisy spacer there? That is a uh-oh. And I will take that off when we get to the other end. So no daisy spacer there. We're going to go right from the 12-0 crystal seed beads to the Rondelle. This beautiful crystal faceted Rondelle spacer. Then we'll put that small little daisy spacer, and then we'll put on the blue agate, then another daisy spacer, and then another of your rondelles, those crystal faceted Rondelle spacers, then 2 more of the 12-0 crystals, and a spacer ball, the 3mm spacer ball. And that is component number 2. Then we're going back to component number 1. Right after that 3mm spacer ball, we're going to do 3 of the 12-0 crystal seed beads, 2 of the 11-0 seed beads, 3 of the 12-0 crystal seed beads, and another spacer ball. And that's component number 1. Once we get that spacer ball on, we'll go right back into component number 2, which is 2 of the 12-0 seed beads, your Rondelle, and I've done it right here. I didn't add a daisy. So your Rondelle, crystal Rondelle, and then the daisy. The daisy will be on either side of that blue agate. So then we'll do the blue agate, then we'll do another daisy, then we'll do the crystal faceted rhinestone spacer, 2 of the 12-0 crystal seed beads, and then another 3mm gold spacer ball. So it's component 1, component 2, component 1, component 2. And we will continue this until we get to the middle and are ready to put on the bell. All right, we're back with the beading section of this. I'm going to show just a little bit more of this, and I'm going to put on some music, but I'm not going to show all of it. I will meet you back here when I get to the middle. that was fast. Okay, before we get started again, would you take a moment and please like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share. Like and comment for this video. Subscribe for this channel so that you can be notified when I put something new up. And please share this channel and this video with others. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you. All right, let's go on. So for this piece, I have beaded down to the middle section of my of the necklace. I folded it over, or actually what I did was I decided how long I wanted my middle section, and then I beaded up to that measurement, ending with component number 1, which are all the different size seed beads. Then I have put my bell on it, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start beading in a mirror image of what I had just finished. So we're going to end up putting on that 3mm spacer ball, and then we're going on to component 2. Now, normally when I do a mirror image, whatever I put on one side of the bell, I would put on the other side. And that is true really with this section as well, because component number 2 was the last thing I really beaded for the necklace piece itself. But instead of just putting a few seed beads so that I would have something for my component to ride on, because you do want something for your component to ride on, your bell to ride on, not component, your bell to ride on, so that it doesn't wear on the wire itself as it moves up and down the necklace. So always put something that your bell can ride on. And in this, instead of just regular seed beads, I went ahead and did component 1. So now I have component 2 on both sides of that bell. The rondelles are big enough that that small little bell is not going to jump over it, and it's going to stay in the center of my necklace. All right, I've gone ahead and beaded all the way up through the magic of video. I'm going to pull out some wire guards here for the same reason that I put seed beads for my bell to ride up and down on. I'm protecting the beading wire that I have used. So when you do that, oh, and I am putting on, I'm putting out some bead along crimps, and I put them on in a size number 1. So what happens with the wire guard is this awesome little shaped piece, and I have to tell you, I put some 11-ohs in this by accident. So if you see me taking it on and off, it's because I didn't get all the 11-ohs out of it. I go up the tubing on that wire guard around the top, and then down the tubing on the other side. That means that the beading wire itself is protected in that little channel, and anything that I put in there is actually going to rub up and against the metal on the inside. Now I have pulled my crimp down. I'm making sure that my wires are actually parallel to each other instead of crossed, because I want to get a really good contact with my crimpers. When I'm using my crimpers, I will put that wire all the way in the back at that large half circle, make sure they're parallel, and when I mash it, I should get that little M like I just showed you. Do a 4th turn, mash that little M together, give a quick tug, and you have a really nice crimp. The crimp itself, you can put crimp covers on, people do. I have never done that because I think it looks like a seed bead, to be real honest with you. So now I'm going ahead and pulling up my 3mm which was the spacer ball that I put on the end, and then I cut with my flush cutters right up against the end of that spacer ball. And now I am moving my beaded portion of the necklace all the way up to the wire guard. Once I've done that, I clip my wire off of the spool. That way I don't waste a lot of wire. I put on a crimp. Well, and remember, I started out with a 3mm on this side too. Put on my crimp, do the wire guard the same way, up one side, around the top, down the other. Put this on through the crimp and through my 3mm right there, my 3mm spacer ball. And that's why I always start and end. I don't like to actually cut it right up against the crimp itself, so I always put something that will allow just a small portion of the wire to be hidden in it. Now I'm checking to make sure I haven't let this thing cross over. Then I'm going to hold it up together, make sure that it bends nicely. There's no gaps, but it's also not so tight that it's buckling. Once I've done that, and I let go of that thing, so I've had to check it again. It looks like it's crossed, but it had actually tried to cross over, so I'm holding it to one side. Put it in the back of the crimper. There you go, just like that. Make the M, do a fourth a turn, mash that M together. Don't mash it the other way, it will not hold. Pull the beading wire, the beading wire out. My brain's wanting to say cord. And then cut it flush with that. And you have completed now the beaded portion of this necklace. Now let's see if I can, isn't that pretty? Water and ice. I think that's a perfect name for this piece. Look at that. Now you could make this a little longer. Mine is actually 16 inches long right now. And if you made it just a couple of more inches long or put an extender on it, you actually could wear this just as the piece itself. Just leave the bail off. But I love this bail. So this pendant. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm using these little bitty peanuts because I don't really want any swing between the two circles. I want them to act as one. But I want to save this beautiful jump ring that comes with this pendant. But I want to put my smaller pendant on top. And again, I want it to move as a single unit. So I'm going to take off, just open this up and set this to one side. And I will use it, if not in this project, I will use it in another project because this is a gorgeous little jump ring. It's so shiny, so pretty. All right, to use a peanut, and it does look like a peanut. And I got mine off of Amazon in about 4 different stock colors: red, gold, gold, silver, brass, and copper. So, oh boy, and my hands have fallen off. I've got the thing too close. But what I'm doing is it's open at the back, just like there you go. Can you see it closed? It's open just like a jump ring. I take my chain nose pliers and I'm just mashing that end down till it touches each other. And that's all there is to it whenever you're joining two things. Now, if you want it to act as a single unit, then you will mash this closed and go ahead and mash it completely flat. I'm looking here to make sure I know which side of this is the front, because it is this beautiful beaten copper look to it, but one side is more raised than the other, and my goodness, what is wrong with my hands? But again, I put it in the top of the little peanut just like that. And I am going to go ahead and mash it closed. But this time, because I do not want this moving at all on this ring, I'm going to mash this flat. I'm mashing it closed, and then I am going to mash it flat so that it will move as a single unit. The bottom will still move some because I didn't mash it flat, but it's not going to move all over the place on my top ring. Now, isn't that pretty? I just love that. And again, these are peanuts. They're little peanut closures. And if I can find where I bought them on Amazon, I will put the link below. But I really love them. I use them for all kinds of things. And now I thought I would use 2 of them, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just use a regular jump ring on the top of this pendant. So I pulled out my gold jump rings, and I'm going to use for this a 5mm. And this did not tell you what these were. I had to get my little millimeter gauge out and measure them. They just come just the way they are, and that's why you see silver paint on the top of these, so I know what they were. Okay, when I'm opening a jump ring, I hold it between 2 chain nose pliers or a chain in the round. You're going to turn one side, hold the other steady. Then I'm putting it on here, and then I'm going to go ahead and put on my pendant onto the bell. Make sure the front is facing front. Touch it with a finger and make sure that it's really closed. And you have got your bell on this lovely beaded piece. Now for me, if I was going to do this as a necklace, I would probably go at least 20 inches if I wasn't going to put on any chain, because when you add the 2 pieces to make your pendant, this pendant ends up being about 2 to 2.5 inches in length, and you want to make sure that your piece is balanced. And if you put it on too short a necklace, it may not look balanced. All right, I'm measuring this again just to make sure I know where I'm setting. Once I do that, then I have some lovely chain that I found, and I am going to use that on this piece. My chain, when they have sales, I squirrel away stuff. And I was actually, I think I told you this in the beginning, looking for something else. And I found this chain. And I went, I'd forgotten I had that chain. Now, isn't that a beautiful piece of chain? I just love it. So since I wear my necklaces long anyway, I wear them between 26 and 30 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut my chain, and then I am just going to attach it to either side of my necklace. If you want one with a closure, and let's see, let's take my wire cutters and go ahead and cut this chain off. And so I ended up cutting, I had 16. I went ahead and cut just a little over 10 inches. And this will end up being a 26-inch necklace. So, as I was saying, if you want to put a clasp on this, so that you can adjust the length, get a lobster claw, about a 5 or 6 millimeter jump ring, and fold your chain over in the middle and clip it. And then you can add a chain to your chain, an extender on one side, and you can do the lobster claw on the other. But for this one, as I said, I'm just going to make it a continuous necklace. I'm not going to put a lobster claw clasp on it. So I'm adding it to one side, open my jump rings with a twist of one side of the wrist, put on the chain and the beaded section, then close it back with one twist of the wrist. Then I'm changing direction so that you can see better. And then I'm making sure the chain is not twisted, putting it back with the other. And that's one thing with chain, really play with it and make sure it's laying flat so that when you go to put the other side on, you don't put it on and discover you've got a twist in it. Again, I'm going to take my jump ring and put it between 2 chain nose, or mine is a chain usually, and a curved nose. My daughter has mine that has grip. So if you see me slip, that's the reason. Twist of one wrist. Go ahead and put on the beaded section because that's the part I put on a while ago. You want consistency, so when it matters, you've built in that habit. and then go ahead and put on that little link. Oh, come on, I know you fit. I put you on the other side. And then again, the twist of one wrist, hold the other one steady. The reason you don't want to make a weakness in this jump ring, you want it to be strong to hold this necklace together. And you have a beautiful, beautiful finished product. Isn't that lovely? I think this is just a beautiful piece, and look at the shine on that pendant. And remember, the bottom half is the 18 karat gold plated over brass, and the top half is that metal, again brass over gold. No, reverse that. Gold over brass and that beaten metal, and I think it is just gorgeous. My brain sometimes gets ahead. No, actually, it's my mouth sometimes. It gets ahead of my brain. Do you ever do that? Now look at this piece. That is just lovely. Water and ice. Gorgeous, gorgeous piece. All right, let's move on and make the matching earrings. They're pretty, really pretty too. Here we go. All right, for this we're going to use that agate, the crystal rondelles, some of the 3 millimeters, some chain, and some of the fishhook ear wires. We're going to start off with my head pin, and we're going to add one of the 3 millimeters, then a rondelle, crystal rondelle. Then I'm going to get back over there where we can see. Then we're going to add the agate. And then let's see, am I going to put any, and a 3 millimeter seed bead again. So we start with a 3 millimeter, we end with a 3 millimeter. I used my looper, I went across, caught it, then very gently mash those handles. Let's do it one more time. A 3 millimeter, your rondelle. Oh, I forgot to tell you the daisy spacer, the agate, and then a 3 millimeter rondelle, just like that. And this is on a ball head pin. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it across the looper, but that bead right up against it, mash the handles, then push it back just a little bit. Now, this one did not close, so we're going to take my straight nose and we're going to move it all the way down till it touches, and then I back it off just a little bit at the base of the loop. Make sure it's closed with the chain nose, and then it is ready to go on our chain. And I'm going to check this one to make sure it's the same way. Let's give it a little try just to make sure it's closed. Again, you move it down to the middle, then see how it's over to one side, put the tip right at the base, back it back off right next to the right over the top of the beads, I'm sorry, and then just make sure it's closed up, and these are ready to use. I realize I'm yelling. At least it feels like me, I'm yelling. My little window unit just came on, and I was yelling over the window unit. Sorry about that. All right, for this we're going to use, let's go ahead and pull out, I think, what did I decide to use here? I can't decide if, I know. I'm going to go ahead and pull those teeny little 4 millimeters. I want the chain and the bead to be the focal point and not my jump ring. So I'm using a small one. I'm going to go ahead and put on that beaded piece, and then I'm going to put on my chain, and then just like we've been doing, we're going to twist it closed one side, touch it with your hand to make sure it's closed. I was trying to decide if I felt rough or not. And then I'm going to do it with the other one the same way. Between 2 jump rings, open it up. Once you have got that on there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put the beaded piece on first. Consistency, whether you're making jewelry or it's in life, consistency is the name of the game. And then go ahead and close it right up. Now these are going to be drop dangles. Aren't those pretty? I think they're gorgeous. And that is the top of my head pin. I finally got it back on. Now after I looked at these, I decided that this would be a good pair to go ahead and use my lever backs if I can get the bag open. The reason being, it's not going to matter on these whether your loops are in the same plane or not for it to look like it's facing forward. So I put on a jump ring, I put my lever back on, and then my chain, and then I'm going to close it back up. And make sure that it's closed just like that. And then I'm going to do it to the other one, and these will be finished. Now, aren't those pretty? The really nice thing about this type is this is about 1.5 inches of chain. This makes these earrings a little over 3 inches once you put the beading on. But you can use the same beads, that same beaded piece, whether you're using a length of chain that is 3 links, 4 links, or 20 links. It makes it the same. If you love long earrings, then you, by all means, use long pieces. And I wanted to show you these in the long earrings. When I do these for myself, I will put them on probably about 6 to 7 links because I like shorter earrings. If it tickles the bottom of my shoulder, I am through with those earrings. But my daughter loves to wear long earrings, so it's all just personal preference. But here are these beautiful long water and ice drop dangles. Aren't those pretty? All right, let me show you some pictures, shall we? Now, isn't that just a beautiful piece? Would this piece look just as beautiful if you only used the pendant that came in the August Bargain Bead Box? Absolutely. But if you're wearing a long necklace, you want it to make a statement. And so that's why I'm always manipulating whatever they got for pendant, because I love long necklaces. Thank you again for joining me today. I have had so much fun. I hope you have had fun and been inspired, because that's what the name of the game is, to be inspired, to go out and live life and just do something wonderful for yourself. Look in your own stash, see what you've got to work with, and make one of these beautiful water and ice necklaces yourself. God bless you and God keep you safe until we meet next week. Kathryn, Handmade by Circle Art Designs. God bless y'all. Happy beading.